today I got to see my daughter take her first step. And the funny thing about those moments as a father, I live for those moments. The other thing about those moments is that you're either there for them or you're not. And when I think about my oldest, I wasn't there for a lot of those moments. I was away working. I was working in the likes of London as a consultant and trainer. And although it seemed important work, I was missing a lot of those moments. And I feel guilty and shameful about that now. But what's funny is that guilt and shame, it really drove me to make some critical shifts. I was in a place where I was earning okay money, enough to keep us going. I was doing work that was pretty good, and I was absent as a father. So I made the critical shift. And the critical shift I made was really in my delivery model. It had nothing to do with becoming smarter, better, charging a bunch more. It had everything to do with my delivery model. I moved away from the traditional coaching consulting model, and I moved towards something we now call the hybrid coach. The hybrid coach model allowed me to increase my income dramatically and free up a bunch of time, so we can now take holidays in the likes of Italy, where we are today. It also meant, above all, I was there as a partner and as a father. That was the driving force behind all of it. Now, today I wanted to share exactly the steps that I took. It's not revolutionary, it's not crazy, it seems so simple that actually you probably want to hopefully implement it for yourself. Becoming a hybrid coach allows you to do all the things that are promised to do us as trainers and coaches and speakers.
In this session, I want to share why the old coaching model, the traditional coaching model that most men have been taught on how to coach, is inherently flawed and built for ultimately the reduction in the amount of success you're going to have over time and the reduction in the amount of success your clients are going to be able to have over time. As well as that, the old model is limiting in the amount that you're able to earn. Now, let me explain all that. And I've shared this with a visual model here so that it's a little bit easier to comprehend if it's a new idea to you. So the idea of the traditional coaching business, simply put, is that you have a client or a series of clients. Now, you work with that individual on an hourly basis, 90-minute basis, whatever it is, 45-minute basis, and you will speak to them on a certain rotation, whether that be week, bi-weekly, monthly, or quarterly. And your value to them is they will come to you with a problem, a plan, an inability to hit a certain goal or objective, or some lack of clarity in their life. And your value, your role, is to turn up to that call with your skill set, your years of experience as a coach, and your years of experience as an expert in this area, and to turn up with the magic, to turn up with value, frameworks, clarity, or something to ultimately help them solve their problem or move closer towards their goal. And you do that for them personally or professionally in their business or life. That is the traditional model. Now, that is very simple, very straightforward business to do when you have 1, 2, 3, or maybe even 4 clients. It's quite a simple business. It requires very little hours for you. According to the Federation, the IFA, the International Federation of Coaching, the average coach that's been working for 10 plus years has 11.7 clients to their name, and so that is the average amount. Obviously, some people have a lot less and a lot more. And for coaches that have been working for 10 years or less, the number is actually a lot less as well. But that tells us why this model is potentially very limiting. So if you have one client, then the business is simple. But once you get up to 7, 8, 9, or 10 plus, the business becomes more complicated and ultimately starts leading you down a path of failure, not success. So looking at this image visually, the amount of clients you have increases the amount of revenue that you have. So say you charge $300 an hour per session, that will increase times the amount of sessions that you have booked in a week. Excellent. But what it also increases is the likelihood of your personal burnout, because your model is based on you showing up to these sessions with high energy, high ability, ability to hold the space for your clients. Your ability to perform at that level is going to decrease with the amount of work that you have. Ultimately, you are a gun for hire. You are somebody that is hired on the spot for the time that you're able to give somebody. So as your income increases, as your profits increase, so does the likelihood of long-term burnout. Here's the other limitation of it is the built into this model is the moment where you get to a certain number. For you, it may be 10 clients, it may be 15, it may be 20. And once you get to that number, your week is ultimately maxed out. You're unable to add any more clients to your roster. And that means that your income at whatever level you've been able to hit, whether it be 100,000, 200,000, whatever, is limited. There is no more capacity to grow. A lot of coaches, according to the International Federation of Coaching, will take on courses, will add group coaching program in addition to this one-to-one service, and ultimately to serve with variety perhaps, but also to increase their income because they are limited, their hours are done. This is a hybrid of a few things that you're familiar with. Many of you have considered or have an online course. Now, we all know that online courses, we've taken them, we've maybe even made them, but we know that the biggest challenge, or I should say the biggest upside, is that we're able to scale our time. We're able to create something once and we can sell it again and again. The downside is probably what you've experienced when you've taken on different courses. If you have completed a course, you're in less than 5% of the total participants in any given course. Based on some courses are better than others, but 95% of individuals will never even finish, never mind be successful with coaching alone. You may even have been part of a mastermind. Mastermind can be a tremendous thing. Being in the room with like-minded individuals for both camaraderie, support, accountability, and insight from individuals you trust and like can be a tremendous thing. The great upside of that is obvious. The downside of something like that is the time that it typically takes to be successful in that format. Not because as a participant or as a format it's broken, but because absorption as a learning strategy is typically a slower one. Being part of a mastermind for a number of months is where you'll see the uplift. A matter of weeks, I'd be hard pushed to see any mastermind that has a dramatic, tangible impact on somebody's life in days and weeks. It's months, and that's fine. That is the promise of such thing, of a mastermind. And then, of course, one-to-one coaching. We all know that there is, in fact, value in that. It's a model that's existed because it succeeds at some level, mainly in its ability to impact, its ability for you to listen to the person in front of you and know what to say, know what to do, know what to share, because you are the talented, experienced, established coach that you are. So all of these things have disadvantages. All of these things have an advantage to them. But what if we could create a new model? The new model that I talk about is the hybrid coach. The hybrid coaching model allows for the best of these three areas of transformation, of information transfer, of education, of what we do, what we know how to do. Allows for the best of them, but it strips away the challenging parts and the limitations of any one of these models. So with what we're talking about, we're going to take somebody from one side of the chasm to the other side. We're going to help understand where they're currently at, and we're going to be able to take them to a new destination. Now, we've done this enough to know that if somebody's at a certain place and they want to get to another place, that there are steps to take. They are approaching you, they are working with you because you have the steps, you have the roadmap in order to go from A to B, from one side of the chasm to the other. However, that part of the coaching, the one-to-one especially, is the least exciting part I can imagine for you. Explaining the fundamentals, explaining the basics after years of explaining the basics is not what lights you up. I imagine if you're like most experienced coaches, that what lights you up is the nuance, is the detail, is creating and maintaining the light bulb moments for your clients. So what if we created a course that just outlined those 6 to 9 to 12 eureka moments that are necessary for your particular transfer in either wealth, in business, in health, in relationships, in whatever it is, in fitness that you help individuals with? What if you were to outline a simple course? Now, the upside is, of course, you create it once and you don't have to explain the fundamentals to people again. So you gain time by that, and you're able to articulate it in your best possible way and do it once on camera. But of course, the downside is that many people fail with courses, or rather, not just fail, but just do not finish the entire thing. And so, well, what if you had a community? What if you had a community of like-minded individuals that are all looking to do the same goal, either for accountability in the completion of that course or for support when they get stuck? What if you got to video 3 and your client gets stuck, or they have an idea and they want to get a feedback loop going with other individuals that they like and they trust? The community aspect allows for the best of a mastermind, unique insight and a variety of perspectives on specific challenges as somebody moves through a transformation. That is the very best of a mastermind. Being able to hear ideas and hearing perspective outside of your own brain is what allows for that. And on a personal level, it holds them to an account and holds them allows for support so that they're able to complete their course. But if that were all that we were doing, we wouldn't get to do what we love. We wouldn't get to exist in our genius zone that is coaching and moving people through that process, helping them when they get stuck in the tactics and helping them overall in the strategy. So of course, coaching remains part of this equation. Now, you can choose to do this in two ways. You can choose to keep this as a one-to-one experience for your clients, helping them only with the nuance, the detail, the challenge, the roadblocks, the difficult, the light bulb moments, the stuff that excites us the most. Your genius zone of being able to move people through not the fundamentals, but the hard stuff, the difficult moments. You can choose to do that. And yes, not only are you able to increase your revenue and your profits by doing this, because it's not just a coaching program anymore. It is a hybrid approach of coaching, course, and community, which has more than 3 times the value to the individual. Remember, what they're focused on is getting the result, not the amount of time that they spend in any one domain or how they get there necessarily. So you can choose to have it as a one-to-one experience. And I've seen coaches that allow that to work, and that allows them to scale to the 100, 200, 300 plus thousand with that. But what you can also choose to do is to make this a group experience, realizing that 80%, maybe 60%, but an upper percentage of the individuals running through your program will be able to do so with a course, with the community, and with the tactical inputs or support that you may look to give. That doesn't need to be an hour a week. That could just be an audio message back and forth. That could be an email support. That could be a group call for 90 minutes to 2 hours once a week, where you have the amount of clients that you have all on the same call. Because remember, there is value in your words, but there is also value in both the fundamentals through the course and the community. This model allows for infinite scalability. It allows for infinite scaling of revenue, and it actually allows for a scaling of your time beyond what you could possibly do by yourself. Now, one thing you might consider is well, how can I ensure that my clients get good results? Well, the reality is that is always a question I get when presenting this module from somebody who hasn't done it before. Anyone who has done this effectively will know and will discover that actually the power of the community allows for coaching beyond you. What I mean is your coaching ability is amplified and not reduced by this model. You will find that your community are able to answer some of the fundamental questions because they are going through the experience too. And although you may offer to support at a high level, most of your clients may not need that or may not see that as attractive. The reality is they may find just progressing as a group, being one of the herd, is exactly what they're looking for. And for those that do need a little bit more support in that nuance, you have the time, freedom, and flexibility up to a certain level for sure that you can interject and help them on that level. Now, since 2022, this is the model that we run, and this has allowed for our scale as a company, as Apex Performance, has allowed us to scale significantly. It's allowed us to help more people, and I should say a whole lot faster than I was able to ever to do on a one-to-one basis. And it's also allowed for my clients to increase the perceived value of our offering, because it is no longer just about time with myself, but it is resource-based and community-led. This is the hybrid model. This allows for all the upside of a mastermind, a course, and your coaching abilities without the downside of limitation on time, limitation on resource, and constantly having to explain the basics when you just don't have to do that anymore. So this is the hybrid model, and this will allow you to break free of the old coaching model based on skill and time alone.